The Elevons is symmetrical either side, but there's a front where this hole is for the control horn, and it needs to be closest to the attachment to the wing. So we're going to shave a 45 degree off of this, and so we'll put it off the table surface far enough to reach in here to trim. And you can get close to a table edge, which is easier, but we're going to put it right next to that edge of the metal. And we're going to take a blade. Actually, let's move it back a little bit from the table edge, rather from the edge of the metal, and we'll press down here, and then we're going to take and trim a 45 degree. Don't let it slip. Be very careful with the blade. You can do a little bit at a time. Keep your hands out of the way. And keep an angle on your blade so it slides easily through the material. We're going to take a sanding block and finish it and smooth it out. So that we have a nice 45 degree edge. And we'll do that for the second Elevon. Again, a little bit away from an edge, off the surface. This could be done on a square piece of wood or the edge of a table. Just keep your hands away from where a blade might slip, and we'll just carve a little here. And we'll take the sanding block. We're going to finish that off. And we have a nice chamfer 45. In your kit, you'll also have some plywood parts, Baltic birch parts, and you just pop those out. That's a control horn, and that's the other control horn. And let's glue those to the Elevon. We're going to use a wood glue, such as Type Bond. Some people will use Gorilla Glue. I don't like it. It stays gummy, and so Type Bond is the best for this kind of purpose. Now when it's mounted on the wing, the bottom of the wing will be this side. The chamfer is on the underside. So the control horn will go on the bottom side, which we have facing up. We're going to push that foam material out of the way. Again, the chamfer, put it down, put the control horn on this side. And also the control horn should be slanting towards the front edge of the Elevon. So apply a little glue. Oh, a little too much. Little on that side, little on this side. A little bit there. And slide it in. If it oozes out and makes a bead, that's good. It'll make it stronger. And just set it aside to dry. A little there. A little there. There. And there. Okay, and we'll set it aside to dry. we're going to begin assembling the motor mount, and you just need to push the parts out. We have some holes here in the motor mount plate that we need to open up. Now the motor mount configuration is a pusher type motor mount, and that is the engine mounts on the back of the plane, pushing the plane forward, and you'll notice that this base plate here is not symmetrical. If we turn it upside down, here it's going to have a curve to the right, and this is right side up, which is a curve to the left. Normally a plane has the prop spinning in a clockwise manner, and it creates a counter roll towards the left. And so a plane wants to turn to the left. To compensate, you put in what's called right thrust. So if the engine's in front of a plane, you put a little right thrust. But if it's in the back of the plane, you put a little left thrust, which causes the plane to curve towards the right. And that compensates for the left-hand roll produced by the torque of the propeller. So this is also the back with these notches. When this mounts on the wing, the rubber band will come over and go through these notches. So this is the rear and this is the front of the motor mount. And because it's a pusher, we're going to mount the plate at the rear. So this would be the correct orientation for the motor mount. Okay, oriented this way, pushing the plane forward. So we're going to assemble this. This piece is a cross piece that strengthens the motor mount, so we're going to apply some Type Bond glue. Right here where the brace mounts on both sides. Also on the brace where it fits into the same slot, a little bit on both sides, and then we'll slide it into place on the vertical part of the mount and press it in. You put it on a table surface and make sure that all four sides are square. Then we're going to put a little glue on the face inside where the motor plate mounts, and a little bit on either side of these tabs as well. A little bit there at the bottom. These are areas that overlap the base, or rather the motor plate. And so the motor plate then just attaches. Inside. And you can press that down onto a table surface and make sure it's flush all the way in. You can take something and spread out the glue a little. And in this area here, The motor that mounts to here will have a rear bearing, and that bearing needs a clearance hole. That's what that hole is for. We could just take the little extra glue out of there, make sure it's clear. That's so the motor shaft can protrude through the motor base, or the base of the motor mount itself, and the spinning portion of the shaft won't be rubbing on the motor mount. Then we take some glue and put on the surface or edge that will contact the base plate and both tabs on both sides. It slides in to the tabs and against the base, and you'll see the motor mounts back here pushing the plane forward, and it's a little left thrust which behind the center of gravity of the plane will produce a right turn. If this were a motor mount in the front of the plane, you would have some right thrust instead. But as it's in the back, we put a little left thrust, which produces a right turn. It's about 2 to 3 degrees, and that helps the plane fly level when both elevons are properly leveled. And set that aside to dry.